to talk about a really horrendous situation, in my view, in Turkey, where that lovely president of theirs, Erdogan, is bringing in a law. They have approved this law, which is aimed at removing millions of stray dogs from the country's streets. Animal lovers fear this will lead to many of the dogs being killed or ended up in neglected, overcrowded shelters. We're going to show you, as we talk, some very unpleasant footage. Make no apologies for it. We've got to know what's going on. Trust me, we've edited out much, much worse than this. But what you're going to see is not pleasant. It is evidence of these dog shelters, such as they are in Turkey, where these poor dogs end up. I mean, it's just horrendous. And, you know, why kill millions of dogs? In fact, the Turkish people, I'm told, have quite a good relationship with their street dogs. You know, they rather like them, they feed them, and yet Erdogan wants to massacre millions of them. Nobody wants to see millions. I don't give a damn what the reasons are. Don't kill millions of dogs. It's not their fault, is it? Let's talk to Peter Egan, of course, our regular here, animal rights activist, famous actor. We're hoping to be joined by Melda Eche-Kelam-Kisoy. She's a PhD researcher in critical animal studies. She knows all about this. Can't find her at the moment, but hopefully we'll get her in a little while. But we will be joined now by Robert Smith, who's a dog population control expert and also comes from the Freedom Shelter Oradeo. He's a spokesman for that. So welcome to Peter and to Robert. Hopefully we'll be able to contact Melda pretty quickly. Well, first of all, let's go to you, Robert. Can you explain what is going on in Turkey? Why has Erdogan... I don't think this is the first time he's done this. Why has he ordered the massacre of these innocent creatures?
Well, officially, the reasons they've given, I understand, are traffic accidents, people feeling intimidated by too many street dogs, rabies, and stray dogs attacking farm animals, causing economic loss. But really, these are spurious reasons. The statistics on traffic accidents and rabies are very dubious, but it doesn't really matter whether they're accurate or not. The solution to the surplus dog problem is neuter, vaccinate and return, and not catch and kill. But politicians, unfortunately now like Mr. Erdogan, are always interested more in knee-jerk reactions, in short-termism. They don't really study the problem. They don't think about it deeply, and it's not rocket science. You know, the dogs breed exponentially unless they are neutered, and it is impossible for catch and kill to stem the reproduction of dogs. The dogs, a fertile bitch will produce 2 litters a year, on average about 8 puppies. Probably 4 of them, half of them roughly, will die very young from disease, malnutrition, etc. And then the fittest will survive, and they then go on to breed. So, you know, I don't want to bore you with statistics, but I worked out that the municipal dog catchers in Turkey, or indeed anywhere else, would have to catch over 20%, 21.5%, in fact, I worked out, of the loose dogs, the unsupervised dogs, every single month to start to reduce the surplus dog population. So neuter and return enjoys the support of almost everybody, whether you love dogs, hate them, or just probably like most people fairly neutral.
Including, I think, the Turkish people, who, as I say, have a good relationship with their street dogs. Peter, we're sort of showing some film there. As Robert was just saying, some of them get chucked into these compounds, which are just horrendous. I mean, some of the footage we've had to edit out. You know what we've edited out, but we're looking at dead dogs just lying around. I'm afraid that some of these poor creatures end up eating the dead dogs. We've seen this here, but we're not going to impose that on the viewers. But look at the state of those poor dogs. There's some dead dogs. Some of them are covered in blood. I mean, it really is terrible. What can be done to help these poor creatures?
Well, it's down to people in the end. I mean, added to some of the horrors I have seen stray dogs picked up and thrown in the back of those crushable rubbish carts. So they're treated like just street rubbish as well. It is absolutely heartbreaking. But this is a human problem, not a dog problem. It means that the humans in all of the local areas, the mayors and the local governments, have got to work with the NGOs in those areas to do, as Robert has just said, to spay, neuter and return. It's the only way that this problem will be solved. And in fact, I think Robert had a very successful shelter in Istanbul some years ago, Robert, didn't you? And you actually made it work in the most comprehensive manner, which is a very good example of how it can be solved. It has to be human cooperation with NGOs and a total focus on spaying and neutering these poor and wonderful dogs.
Yes, as I say, some of this footage is extremely harrowing. Melda Eshe Kelam Kisoy, sorry if I got that wrong, but Melda, welcome to the show. Was I just about all right with your name there?
Hiya, yeah. First name was correct. It's Melda Kelam Kisoy.
Okay, well, I gave it my best shot anyway. Welcome to the show, Melda. Tell me, what's your interpretation of what's going on here? Why does Erdogan want to massacre all of these dogs? I mean, he can go on about rabies and everything like that, but Turkey has always had street dogs. And I know a friend in Istanbul, he says that the locals have really good relationship with them. There are actually sort of shops that specialise in selling food for people to give to these dogs. So why has Erdogan declared these rather loved street dogs the enemy of the people?
So yes, as Robert mentioned, this has been a problem, especially not just in Turkey, but the Balkan region for many, many years. There's been stray dogs and cats coexisting with humans for as long as ever. But recently, in the past few years, a lot of stray dog population has increased, causing traffic accidents, a lot of traffic accidents recently. But this is because the local authorities have not followed the animal protection law from 2004, which said to spay, neuter and release. They've not fulfilled their duties. And they had 20 years. So this first law was passed in 2004. And as Robert mentioned, same happened in Romania. And now in 2013, that killing law was passed in Romania. So this is exactly the same thing repeating in Turkey. And it's been a major public debate, especially in the last few months, because there's been loads of people on social media vilifying dogs. Loads of troll accounts, loads of misinformation going around social media.
So demonising them.
Demonising, yeah.
Whipping up kind of a fervour against them. How do they end up in these horrible compounds that we've shown some of? You know, if the policy is catch and kill, I mean, are they caught, chucked into these compounds and then killed? I mean, what's the process here?
So up till last week, until the law passed, the process was to catch, spay, and release. Obviously, the footage from these shelters, you can see the conditions are absolutely horrific. Lots of starvation, dogs even eating each other.
I know, we've seen that, yeah.
So the problem is they've not really fixed the root cause of the problem, and they've started to forcefully collect dogs, and they were not meant to do that. They're meant to collect them and then release them. Obviously, they've not neutered and spayed them, but kept them in these shelters. There's also footage, very disturbing footage, of dogs not getting put down by euthanasia, but by shooting or other horrific methods. And this footage you're showing right now, this just came in on the 6th of August, 2 days ago. This is from central Turkey, from the province of Niğde.
Yeah.
They've built mass graves without and just chucked all the animals in there. And there's eyewitness accounts, reports have come in yesterday saying that shelter used to have 800 healthy dogs, and volunteers have visited this shelter yesterday saying only 30 dogs were remaining. And before the show, I've just got an email saying they've rescued those 30 dogs today from this shelter.
Well, that's some good news in a very, very dark story. If I can go back to Robert, can you explain again? Why is it? I mean, is this genuinely a vote winner for Erdogan?
I don't think so. I heard that there was a poll where 70% of the people opposed this law.
85.
85.
Oh, really? Okay.
85.
Yeah, 85. Okay. Look, I've studied this problem for a long time. In fact, I don't know if you can see it, but I wrote this report donkeys years ago, I think in 1998, on how to solve Istanbul's surplus dog problem. And I was very encouraged in 2004 when this new animal protection law passed, but I said at the time, it cannot be implemented by municipalities, by public servants, by municipal officials. Of course, there will always be some honourable exceptions, but as a rule, municipal workers are not motivated, they're not educated, they are lazy, they will pick up the easiest, friendliest dogs, and above all, catch and kill is aimed at the wrong target. The most reproductively successful dogs are not the feral street dogs living off rubbish on rubbish dumps. They are dogs with keepers, owners, feeders, community dogs, factory dogs, petrol station dogs, car park dogs, etc., etc. They are the ones whose puppies will survive. So aiming catch and kill at street dogs and not doing door-to-door canvassing in the manner of a military campaign, door-to-door, building-to-building, factory-to-factory, is never going to work. And this cannot be implemented by government officials, government workers who have zero credibility with the dog-feeding, dog-keeping public. It can only be implemented as a public-private partnership between municipalities or government, local government, and NGOs. And I've always said this, and there are many examples in the world. Jaipur, for example, in India. I did it, as you mentioned, in Oradea with my Romanian foundation, where NGOs can demonstrably reduce the excess dog population.
Okay.
And just to give you another little example, I heard from a friend in our holiday complex in Özdere on the Aegean coast in Turkey, that a bitch who's been hanging around our holiday resort since at least March, because I saw her then, has just given birth to 9 puppies. Now, that bitch, who's being fed from the kitchens of our holiday resort, should have been collected, as Melda said, by the municipality, neutered and returned. But it hasn't been done. The municipalities simply are not organised or motivated enough to do this.
Sure.
This has to be, you know, the Battle of Stalingrad, or more recently, the Battle of Bakhmut, you know, house to house, factory to factory, collecting all the female dogs, neutering them, vaccinating them against rabies, and returning them.
Okay, well, go back to you, Peter. You know, this is a disaster, obviously, so people will be watching this. It's very harrowing. I mean, how can, you know, my audience, people around this country, how can we help?
Well, I think that Melda has on her side a petition that should be supported, but she'll give details about where and how. To sign the petition, keep protesting to the Turkish government. I think also within the areas that both Robert and Melda are talking about, if there were NGOs that were canvassing the local community so that they had a paper that they could deliver showing the importance of spay, neuter and return, it might deliver information, because this continues to happen because local communities don't care enough and don't take it seriously enough. So it's an educational problem as ever, and an informational one. But in terms of to answer your question, Kev, perhaps Melda can give.
Let's go back. Okay, Peter, thank you. Let's go back to Melda. How do they sign your petition? Where is it?
It's on thesavemovement.org. It's thesavemovement.org.
The Save.
Thesavemovement.org.
Is that the Save, all one word? THESAVE.org.
The Save Movement.
Or is that the Save Movement, all one word, .org?
Yeah, all one word, yeah.
Thesavemovement.org. Everybody, go to there and sign the petition. I wish I could talk about this longer, but I'm going to have to go. Listen, Melda, thank you very much. Thank you for doing what you can for these poor dogs. Thank you, Robert. Same deal. Thank you for your help. And as always, Peter, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Everybody, try and sign Melda's petition as soon as you can. We've got to stop this. This is awful.